and welcome back to Aamsuntitledpodcast. I'm Am. Hi, if you've never met me before, it's really nice to meet you. Welcome to my Percy Jackson dedicated podcast. In today's episode, we are going to do part 6 of Wrath of the Triple Goddess. So, together, we are going to be discussing, chatting through chapters 26 to 30. We are like 2 parts away from the end, and I can't believe that it's almost over. But I'm so happy with this book, and I can't wait to share more on my thoughts and feelings about the book in just a second. I just wanted to say, if I sound a little bit congested or like my voice sounds a little bit funny, I'm so sorry. I have got a cold, and no matter what I do, it's not going away. So I can't just wait to record the podcast episode because otherwise I'm not going to have time. So I'm so sorry if I sound a little bit different to normal. I will try and keep the coughing and the sniffling to a minimum. If you do accidentally hear it on the recording because I haven't pressed the pause button fast enough, I'm so sorry. Yeah, so that's just my little disclaimer. From now on, I'll try and remember to put a spoiler disclaimer in as well. So major spoilers from part 6 of the book, so chapters 26 and 30 to 30. Okay, listen in at your own discretion. I've given the disclaimer now, so I'm ready to talk about what I need to talk about. So, chapter 26 is okay, there might be a cure, but you're not going to like it. So, the chapter opens up with Grover and Annabeth dragging the nymphs upstairs, and Percy tries his best to talk to Gale and asks her for an antidote to. Because, of course, if you guys remember from the last episode, Annabeth's got an owl. She's turned into an owl. Grover's transformed into a human being, much to his absolute displeasure. And Percy has got octopus tentacles, I think, or he's completely turned into an octopus. It's quite funny. And he says to Gale that if she helps him make an antidote, if she wants to, she can take the cure and become human again and sort of make a decision about where she wants to go in her life. And if Gale, why can I not talk today? Percy says also that, if Gale helps them, he'll make sure that Hecate learns to understand Gale's worth and that he'll try and persuade Hecate to give them more, what's the word I'm looking for? Appreciation, I guess. And, when he made her that promise, I genuinely believed him because I know that he doesn't make empty promises. He never ever says anything unless he's going to act on it. And he sort of places his tentacles around Gale's back and, gives her a hug. And through that hug, he can sort of feel her emotions and he sees a vision of young Gale, after uh just it's basically Rick's way of trying to explain to us why Hecate turned Gale into a polecat. And in the vision, he sees that actually young Gale had brought a girl back to life, and the townspeople of where she was absolutely hated her for it, and they started calling her like a witch, and just these really derogatory terms. And Hecate had warned her against it. She said that, look, um, people aren't gonna like you if that's what you're gonna do. And Gale sort of didn't listen to her and carried on anyway. And she came to visit Gale one day and told her to give up her powers because nobody would accept her as she was. And of course Gale said no. And she asked Hecate for protection, you know and Hecate said that she won't protect her and that she can't protect her from her own talent. So Hecate offered to make her immortal and turned her into a polecat. And I think one of the reasons why Hecate did that to Gale was because she pitied her, and she couldn't see Gale succeed at something that she couldn't. So she sort of, don't know if it's a form of control. I don't know if that's really the right way of wording this, but it was almost like she turned her into a polecat. Um, Obviously to protect Gale, but also for her own selfish benefit so that she can control her. Now, I don't know if that's like just my interpretation of it. Like when I read it, that's what it sounded like to me. If anybody else has any other ideas or thinks that I'm chatting absolute bollocks, please tell me because that's what it felt like to me. I don't know about anybody else, but I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. Um, Percy frees Gale from her chain and gave her the choice to stay or run. And she chooses to stay behind and make an antidote with him. Percy and Gale grab the antidote and run towards Grover and Annabeth. Once they catch up with them, Percy tells them to run, and the building exploded behind them. They sort of dropped the twins in the street and ran away. I don't know why that made me laugh. Like, I just thought I can just imagine like these two nymphs like tied up in the middle of a street with a building exploding behind them, and Percy, Annabeth, and Grover and Gale just running away from them. I just think it's so funny. Chapter 27 is We Eat Toothpaste. So the chapter opens up with the trio running through the streets. Percy tells them that he has a cure that might work. Big emphasis on the might. Um, and of course, he gives it to Grover and Annabeth. And Grover says that the mixture smells like cinnamon toothpaste. Ever had cinnamon toothpaste? That was really like I pointed that out for a reason, and that's just because I've never seen a toothpaste that's cinnamon flavored. Is that like an American thing? I don't know. Like all the toothpastes that I see are all like mint, like different flavors of mint, or like strawberry. I've never seen like a cinnamon thing. Is that just something that Rick's made up? Like I'm actually genuinely gonna Google that. One second. Like if like cinnamon toothpaste is actually a thing. Oh my god, guys, I just Googled it and cinnamon toothpaste is actually a thing. My life has been a lie. I didn't even know that was a thing. Honestly, when I read that, I thought Rick was making it up, but obviously, clearly he's not. I'm just an idiot and I've never seen a tube of cinnamon toothpaste. It's really expensive, though, by the way, cinnamon toothpaste. Must be some next level luxurious toothpaste. If you guys use cinnamon toothpaste on your teeth, let me know. Is it any good? I don't know. Anyway, Grover swallows a bit of the antidote and he transforms back into his Satyr form. Oh, thank goodness. I thought he was going to have a meltdown if he had to stay as a human. Um, Annabeth was the next person to take the cure, and she transformed back into her regular self. Oh, thank goodness. They're both okay. And then the bit that stood out to me in the chapter was that there was only enough of the antidote left for either Gale or Percy to take. And Percy, if I could not love him any more than I already do, he offers it to Gale. Now, I love this man, and I'll tell you why. It's because he never goes back on his word, and he might just be one of the most selfless heroes I've ever met. Like, honestly, he's a man of his word, and he doesn't go back on promises. His actions definitely speak louder than his words. And, even just him offering the antidote to Gale must have meant so much to her. And it's such a simple moment in the book, and maybe like a lot of people don't even think about it, but that moment really resonated with me. And Gail sort of gives him the antidote back. In other words, she's just trying to say that she's happy as she is. And like this whole idea of embracing your new form, like who you were wasn't a problem, like isn't a problem anymore. Like that's all in the past, right? It's who you are now, that's what counts. And she's learned to see that being a polecat actually isn't so bad. Like she's learned to embrace this new form and not see it as a hindrance. And I thought that that lesson was really clever. You see, in this book, like compared to Chalice of the Gods, like there was a big message in Chalice of the Gods about accepting old age and accepting that nothing lasts forever and things change and that's okay. And in this book there are so many mini lessons that you can pick up, and we've talked about so many of them on the podcast so far, but I just thought that that was such a beautiful lesson. Who you were is like I look at like I have this analogy where I look at it as life is like a scrapbook. So who you were at the beginning of your life, like when you were a baby, right up until when you were a toddler, to when you're like just a kid, and then you transform into a teenager, and then you transform into an adult. Like these are all chapters in your life, and who you were at the beginning is going to be completely different to who you become at the end. And I think it was Rick's way of saying that, look, you know, who you were isn't important anymore. The mistakes and things that you've made in the past doesn't matter anymore. What matters now is who you are and what you've learned from those mistakes. And yeah, I just thought that that lesson was just incredible. And you know what? I was thinking, now I don't know if you guys want to see this, let me know, that maybe I'll do one episode, because obviously what I was planning to do was that I would talk about like once I finished obviously going through the whole book with you guys, I had an idea where I wanted to just do like another like best of Percy Beth, because so far I've done all the books, like I've done all the Heroes of Olympus, I've done the first 5 books, I've done the best of Percabeth and Chalice of the Gods, so I thought that I would do an episode on the best of Percabeth in this book. So I am definitely doing that. But if any of you want to listen, just tell me, because I wanted to do an episode specifically in this book about the lessons learned. I don't know if that's a good idea. Like, let me know. If you guys don't want to hear it, just tell me. But there are so many things that I learned from this book, and obviously I've been talking about it on the podcast as we've been going along. But I was thinking that maybe I should just sit down and just run through all the lessons learned in the book and just talk about them. So if you guys want to hear that, let me know. And if you're like, oh, nah, that's not for me, that's also cool too. I just wanted to know if anybody else wanted to hear that. It's just an episode idea. It's not that I'm running out of content, because I really want to do Heroes of Olympus with you guys. It's just that I thought that that would be an interesting episode. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'll maybe put the question out on like Instagram, or I'll put it out on Threads, and you guys let me know from there. Anyway, sorry, I went on a little bit of a tangent there. What were we talking about? Yeah. So Percy, of course, takes the antidote and transforms back into his normal self. He gives his friends a hug and tells them that that he's craving lobster rolls, and that they should head back to Hecate's house. So it's a really, really simple chapter, but so powerful. And yeah, I just love Rick. Like every time, like at the minute, obviously, I'm reading the first 5 books again. I'm currently on Battle of the Labyrinth, and his writing is just beautiful. Like it's just every chapter is just a banger. And sorry guys, what was I talking about? Yeah, Rick's writing style. So yeah, like I was saying, like every chapter in Battle of the Labyrinth is just a banger. And like I understand now why it was so hard for me to pick between like which one was my favorite out of Battle of the Labyrinth and Last Olympian. And I know that I said that Last Olympian was my favorite, and I think it is. I think it still is, but I think that it might be tied with Battle of the Labyrinth just because that book is so good. And this is what I'm saying. Like even I feel like nothing about Rick's writing style has changed. Like, even though he returned to Percy Jackson after so many years, like, I feel like it still has the same. I don't know what you call it. Like, what's it called? Like, it still has the same essence. It still has this. You can tell it's written at the same amount of love as well. Like, he's not just. Rick's not writing the books to make money. He's genuinely writing them because he cares about us lot as a fandom. And it was just so nice like to see that, like even now, like the essence and the spirit of his work, I feel that now, even like 7 books later, like it's still, it's still so good. I don't know what else to say. Like I genuinely love Rick so much, and I cannot wait. Like one day, I hope that I get to meet him, even if it's just for like 2 minutes, to just ask him like all my questions and just say that I love you and thank you so much for changing my life. Like that would just be, I think I'd be genuinely starstruck, and I know that's strange, but I would be. Like I genuinely won't know what to say, but it would be an honor to just meet him one day and just discuss this with him and maybe even talk to him about it. I don't know. I have hopes that one day, like if I, well, maybe not in this life, but maybe in my next life, if I get to meet him again, I would love to talk to him about it. Anyway, let's carry on. Sorry, I went on a full tangent there. Let's bring it back. So, chapter 28 is I Make a Bad Plan. So the chapter opens with the trio back at Hecate's house, and Hecuba and Gale are finally reunited. And obviously, that's when Gale meets Note 2. He's so cute. I love him. The trio ordered a pizza and basically just chill. Yeah, I'm guessing Percy was the only one that fancied what do you call it? What did he say? Was it lobster rolls that he wanted? Yeah, I don't think anybody else was in the mood for that, so he compromised. Oh, how sweet. Isn't he just the most adorable person? Like, I just honestly, I love that guy so much. Um, and of course, in the book, tomorrow was Halloween, and Grover was worried that they wouldn't be able to fix everything before Hecate gets back. Um, to which Percy suggests that they use magic to fix the house. No. When I read that line, I was like, oh. I was like, I can just imagine like 101 things going wrong right here, right now. As soon as he mentioned magic, I was like, please, please, no, no magic. As if like enough hadn't gone wrong already. Like I don't think that using magic to fix the house, especially a house as old as that one, was the best idea. But I don't know. We'll see. Annabeth asks Hecuba if it is possible to use Hecate's torches successfully, but Hecuba says that no mortal has ever tried, and if they used the torches wrong and to summon the angry spirits, they would destroy everything and everyone in their path, and then they would devour their souls. Oh, fantastic. So there's definitely nothing to worry about, Not a lot can go wrong. Note the sarcasm, people. And Nope gives Gale a bath. Please, I want a Nope of my own. Isn't he just so cute? Like, I genuinely just want a Nope. I really want a cat, but nobody will let me have a cat. I'm just, you know what? I keep telling my dad, I was winding him up the other day. I was just like, I'm going to go and I'm going to bring a cat and I'm going to call it Poseidon or I'm going to call it Nope or I'm going to call it Percy. And he was just like, no. I was like, please, I really want one. And he goes, but why are you naming it after characters you love? I was just like, yeah, but I love the cat just as much as I love those characters. And he just rolled his eyes at me. It was hilarious. Um, Percy asks Gale if she can create a potion to shield them from the dead, and she thinks that she could. Well, Gale is really intelligent, isn't she? She's like making potions left, right, and centre. Um, Percy suggests to help her, but Annabeth reminds him that he has a test in school. Ah, she like teaches him to prioritize like his demigod life as much as his like normal mortal life. Like that's just as important as like his demigod life. She's so wifey, guys. I love her. Grover says that he'll look after the house and he won't let them down again. Now, as soon as he said that, like I was like I was almost certain that he was still feeling guilty about what had happened. And, what I love about this is that as soon as he says that, Percy says that he trusts him. And you know what? Like, I get that Grover made a mistake. And we talked about this quite a few episodes ago now. But, like, everybody makes mistakes. So it's like, it's nothing to beat yourself over, like, up about. But I know that for Grover, it must have been really hard. Like, he's supposed to be the protector. And instead, he made, like, this pivotal mistake that could have put everybody in danger. So I understand that, but yeah, I forgive him for it. Like I love Grover too much to stay annoyed at him. So yeah. Percy sees Annabeth stood outside the house while it's crumbling, and he tells her about Grover grounding himself and a few other things. Let's just say Annabeth was so angry when she found out about what Grover had done, but I think they kind of understand why he did it as well. Annabeth says that she doesn't give him enough credit. Like, she's talking about Percy in this instance, and he says that he makes people feel seen. Like, do you know what? I have to say that I agree with that. Like, Percy never fails to make people feel. Sorry, sneeze came there. What was I talking about? Yeah, he never fails to make people feel special. And, he gives everybody a voice, he hears what everybody has to say, and he just makes people feel yeah, Annabeth's right. The exact way that Rick's worded it is he makes people feel seen. He makes them feel safe and comfortable. And I just don't think that there's many people out there that could do that. And he's just a gift, guys. Like Percy's just you know what? He's such a well raised young man. And like you can tell like he's definitely got the morals and values that Sally's given him as well as being like an incredibly selfless hero, he's also a really good person, and that's really hard to find. So when we come to talk about, is it Percy Jackson and the Greek heroes? Yeah, I read that book, and I thought that we'll talk about it on the podcast maybe a little bit next year, because I really want to do Heroes of Olympus. So once we get to that book, like you'll see, like a lot of the Greek heroes they might be amazing heroes, but saying that they're a good person might be a little bit of a stretch. But Percy is just all of these things. Overall, he's just so wholesome, and yeah, I love that. I love that guy so much. Honestly, like I can tell like why he was my first like fictional crush on a guy because I was just like, wow, there is just nobody like him. Anyway, carry on. She says that when Percy saw Hecuba suffering, Annabeth saw a city collapsing. She's basically trying to say that he saw people and she saw buildings. In other words, Percy sees people for who they are, and Annabeth struggles with that. Like she can see like things that she can make and like buildings and construction, but she can't ever teach herself to be like Percy. Which I think is so nice. That, you know what? Another thing I really respect about Annabeth, and it's just come to me now as I've read that over, is that she isn't ashamed to admit when she can't do something. Like that is such a big thing. And like a lot of people would like sort of dismiss that, but I'm really like I really appreciate that about people. People that put their hands up and are genuine and just say, look, I can't do it. Like I really genuinely respect that. And that's what I love about Annabeth. Like she's so honest and I really appreciate that about her. And I think we need to start like having like more emphasis put on people who are honest and true and just say it how it is. I don't think there's a lot of people in the world that can do that, but Annabeth can, and that's what I admire about her so much. And there was a lovely little Percy quote that came after that moment, which was, "You read people just fine, wise girl, better than me." Honestly, too perfect. Like he literally is like the greenest flag I've ever seen in my life. And I love that he's always bigging her up and like he'll never let her say a bad word about herself. Oh God, guys, where do you find a Percy Jackson in real life? Like honestly, somebody tell me because oh my gosh. You know what? I just want to say this right here, right now. Like I think I've said this before on the podcast. Vaguely remember saying this, but I just want to like thank Rick for making my standards for men impossibly high by creating Percy Jackson because he's just oh perfection. I just love him so much. Oh dear. Annabeth says that she'll use the torches to summon the dead since the place was built by ghosts, and she says that she's an architect, so naturally, out of all three of them, you'd understand that she'd be the most suited for the job, and I agree with that. I mean, when it comes to building architecture, there ain't nobody that does it like Annabeth. Percy tells her that he thinks that there's been something wrong with this place before they even got there. Now, I agree with that because from the beginning of the book, there's always been talking about this magic school, and there's a lot of mystery surrounding it, and it feels like there's like an underlying issue that's not been addressed, and the reason why like the school was shut down and things like because at this point we don't actually know anything. Like we know that of course the twins and Gale and a certain SEJ were approached for the school, but we don't know why the school actually shut down. And yeah, I just think that that's really interesting, and I'm glad that Percy is like really thinking about it. Like he knows that deep down there's something wrong with this place, like way beyond the control of the three of them. I guess we'll find out. Any guesses as to what it might be? I know what it is because I've read the book and finished it, so it's so hard to like try and stop myself from giving spoilers. We're not going to talk about it unless it's in the 5 chapters that we talk about at a time. I'm not going to tell you. Percy tells her about the ghosts that he's been seeing, and he tells her about the flyer that he found about Hecate's school. And Percy says that if they're going to rebuild this place with the help of the ghosts, they need to figure out what's going on. That's true. Like, how can you solve a problem? Like, how can you provide a solution if you don't know the whole story? Like, I agree with that. Like, I genuinely think that, like, you can't address a problem unless you know what the cause of the problem is. Otherwise, then you're just kind covering it with bandages and like trying to sugarcoat it, and that never works. Like, if you really want the foundation of something to be strong and to build on something, the foundation has to be strong, and the foundation can only be strong if the underlying problems are tackled, I guess, or addressed. I feel like I just go on a rant. I'm so sorry, guys. This is getting a lot. You need to tell me when to shut up. Now, this bit completely threw me off. Like, I don't know how it didn't clock to me. Like, all these years of guessing Percy Jackson plot twists, and in this book, I hardly got any of them. Percy realizes that SEJ, the initials SEJ, stands for Sally Estelle Jackson, and he says that he needs to talk to her. No freaking way did I not see that coming. You know, honestly, I screamed when I read that for the first time. I was like, oh my god, I was not expecting that. And like the whole time I was sitting there, like I actually closed the book. Like honestly, when I finished that chapter, I vaguely remember this. Like I closed the book, and literally the only question that was going through my mind was, "What does my girl Sally Jackson have to do with any of this? Like, why would she know about Hecate's school? Like, it made honestly no sense to me. Like, I know that she's like a seer. She's a human that can see through the mist, right? But what did that have to do with Hecate? Like that, it literally, of course, like Hecate is like goddess of the mist or whatever. She controls the mist, but it wasn't occurring to me, and like it kind of made sense. Like sort of gave me a bit of like an epiphany to the beginning of the book where she was being really shady when she found out where Percy, like where the location of the quest was taking place. So yeah, like I actually sat there like on an epiphany for I think like 20 minutes trying to work out what Sally had to do with any of this. But yeah, did anybody else not see that plot twist coming? Like SEJ literally did not click to me whatsoever. For once, Percy got something before I did, which is shocking and all. Chapter 29 is I Get All the Candy. So Grover shakes Percy awake, and Annabeth wishes them both good luck. Percy goes to the Croat Teapot to meet his mother, and he tells his mom about what has happened with Hecate's pets. And Sally tells Percy to support Annabeth when she's holding the torches. Now, we know that Sally is a Percival shipper, but like I said, like I can tell where Percy gets his morals and values from. It's because his mum is such an amazing person, and she's really like drilled and like installed that into him like in such a way. And I love that she always wants him to be a supportive partner. Oh, guys, they're just the most cutest wholesome family ever. Um, Percy realizes that he's stood at a crossroad now, and no matter what decision he makes, it's gonna affect everything. Hecate's brought him to a crossroad, guys, and he knows. And like I think that's like life really, where every decision that you make, big, small, day, night, affects your life in some way. And every time you decide to turn right instead of turning left, like every choice that you make has a repercussion, whether it's a small repercussion or a big one. It affects your life. And, there's this whole big theme throughout the book about crossroads. And it's just, yeah, when we get towards the end, I'll talk a little bit more about it. But I thought that that was amazing. Like the way Rick worded that was just incredible. Percy tells his mother about the blue apparition he saw, and he realizes that that little ghost that was running away on a bike was Sally. Wow, that's just isn't that just insane? Honestly, like I don't know how Rick does it. Like he caught me off guard. Like he actually caught me off guard that time. Sally says that on that day she saw a Pegasus and Hecate told her to find another life. Imagine, she was only a little girl. She was so scared that she biked away and she hadn't been back to Gramercy Park since then. So even Hecate knew that Sally was special from when she was young. Wow. Isn't that just like to be honest, I would be quite scared as well if like a random goddess came up to you and was like, "Oh, you can find another life." I would be shit scared too, so I'm not surprised that Sally reacted the way that she did. And she honestly thinks that Hecate has helped her in a way. Like, I think so too. Like, Hecate sort of came in front of Sally and she made the choice to go away. Like she turned herself away from Hecate. And Sally turned out great. Like she's like the best mom anybody can ever ask for. And even though she's got this gift of seeing through the mist, like it doesn't change who she is on the inside. And I love that. Like I feel like obviously like if Sally had taken up Hecate's offer and became a witch, like I don't think she would have reached her full potential. Like I think like her full potential is the woman that she is now. Yeah, I'm so happy that she didn't go to Hecate. I'm really glad. She turned out great. So yeah. Sally says that the ghosts that Percy is seeing are Hecate's regrets. She thinks that Hecate needs help. And like the reason why Hecate has chosen Percy is because nobody understands people the way that he does. I get that. Like I love that about him. His empathy is so it's one of the most beautiful parts of him. Like as like person, he's so lovely, but this empathy that he has, not a lot of people have that, and he does. So I can understand why Sally's saying that. Like, if Hecate's got any regrets, Percy is the person that can pull her out of that. Like, he just has this way with people. Oh, so good, guys. Like this book, I don't know how Rick does it. It just gets better and better every time. Sally invites Percy to dinner tomorrow and tells him to bring Annabeth and Grover. Oh, she's so she's so lovely. I love how she's not just a mum to Percy, but she's a mum to Annabeth and a mum to Grover as well. I love that. Percy goes back to school and demands that Eudora speaks to him. Yeah, I want to know why she's still being shady. Like, why can't she just come out and tell him what's going on? Eudora shows him a vision through a shell of what Hecate is doing, and she was appeasing souls with food and festivity. Basically, she's sort of helping them prepare for a festival that's in Hecate's honor, in her own honor. Isn't that a bit weird? I don't know. Percy realizes that Eudora is worried about Hecate coming after her, since she was the one that suggested that Percy was the best person for the quest. She's so funny. I love how she threw Percy under the bus. Isn't that just hilarious? Eudora tells him about the fact that Hecate ambushed her on Olympus and asked her what she thought of Percy, and that's how he got roped into this quest. Honestly, that is so funny. Poor Percy, like, I get the gods just sit on Olympus and just say, we have a quest. Oh, who's gonna do it? Percy Jackson will do it. Oh, bless him. As if my poor baby hasn't done enough as it is to prove that he's a good hero. Like, he just keeps getting these quests. Bless him. So, in other words, if Percy fails the quest, Eudora would have failed too, and she thinks that Hecate won't forgive her for the second time around. Hold up a minute. Second time? I'm seeing like the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle sort of coming together now. Like it's all sort of making sense. And Percy realizes that the last time Eudora spoke to Hecate was in 1914. And that's when the school was going to open, but it closed. Remember that detail, guys. It's very important. Eudora tells him that it was her idea to open up the school. She thought Hecate would benefit from teaching young witches, and I think she only teaches girls, doesn't she? Eudora was the counselor and the admission and a member of the admissions team who would bring new students to Hecate, but the students had trouble getting along. So Eudora aired out her concerns to Hecate, and Hecate refused to intervene. And as a result, the school was shut down, and she vowed never ever to teach again. She blamed Eudora for putting her in that position. Okay, first of all, I think that that's very unfair. Like, of course, like Eudora having the idea to open the school, but Eudora wasn't opening it for her selfish benefit. She wanted Hecate to benefit from it. She wanted her to teach young people the art of sorcery. And, the fact that Eudora said that, look, there's a problem with the students and Hecate refused to do anything about it. It's just like, if you see an issue and you refuse to do anything about it, how can you blame someone else for that? Like, I don't understand that. It's just stupid. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm on Eudora's side in this. I don't believe that she was wrong in any of this. And okay, she shut the school down because of the students and she blamed Eudora for putting her in that position. None of this was Eudora's fault. Like, she did try her best. And if Hecate wasn't listening, then that's her own problem. But yeah, that's just my take on it. I don't know. I don't know if any of you guys have noticed, but I'm one of those people where if I make a mistake, I will fess up and be like, yeah, that was my fault. Like, I shouldn't have done that. But the fact that other people don't do that really gripes on me. So maybe that's why that scene griped on me a little bit. I don't know. It was funny. Percy tells Eudora not to beat herself up for recommending him. Oh, bless him. He's so sweet. And he reassures her that he won't fail the quest and that she has inspired him. And she basically, as like a sort of token of her appreciation, gives him the entire jar of Jolly Ranchers. Chapter 30, the final chapter that we're going to be talking about in this episode, because I'm aware that this is a long episode and I've been talking for quite a while, is we grew up for battle. So Percy goes back to Gramercy Park after swim practice. Annabeth tells him that they need to go to St. Mark's Church graveyard in the Bowery, basically. Grover says that Hecuba and Note will do their best to herd the ghosts. Annabeth says that Gale will help them. So basically, Gale's made a potion for them to put on their skin to keep the dead at bay. Yeah, let's hope it works for everyone's sake. Annabeth says that she has intel on how Hecate uses the torches, so she'll be using that intel to sort of wield the torches, you could say. Percy tells them about Eudora and about Sally being a potential witch, and Grover says that she would have killed it. I agree. Like, I feel like she is such a badass. She would have made an incredible witch. But of course, like, I'm more happy that she chose to have Percy. And I love Percy to bits, so I couldn't be more grateful to Sally for that. Percy says that the history of Hecate's house was the problem, so they couldn't fix the house unless Hecate lets go of the past. Now, again, another big lesson there, which is sometimes the only way to move forward is to let go of the past that holds you back. Any mistake that haunts you to this day has to be let go of if you're going to move positively into the future. It's that whole thing, like, as soon as I read that, like, I got the Lion King sort of reference, which was, you know, when Rafiki says to Simba, sorry, a bit off topic here, we're going into Disney here. Um, it's like your past, you can either learn from it or run from it. And I think so many people spend so much time running from the past, like not looking back at their mistakes. And, you know, the best thing to do right now is to learn from the past and move forward. Rick, nobody teaches a moral lesson like you. Like, honestly, the lessons that I've learned from Rick's books have contributed to who I am now. Like, young Am honestly made the best choice to pick up a Rick Riordan book. And like another thing that I was just thinking was that the more that you run for your from your past, one day it's gonna come up. It was gonna come back, and it's gonna catch up with you. So the only way to move forward in a positive way is to learn from it. And I'm glad that Rick has put those lessons in there. Yeah, guys, I'm really considering doing an episode on just these lessons because they're so good. And I can talk a little bit more in detail. Like, I'm a little bit pressed for time in this because obviously there's a lot more stuff that I have to talk about. But yeah, I'm definitely considering having an episode just dedicated to the lessons learned from this book. Right, let's get back into the story. That's enough of me yapping. Um, Annabeth tells him that she is going to use the torches, and Grover shows them the best path to use. Grover puts the mixture on, and Percy and Annabeth, this up Hecuba and Gale. So yeah, they're definitely not taking any chances. No more runaway pets. Let's just put it like that. Percy offers to grab the torches for Annabeth in case something happened. When he picked it up, basically, he wanted to pick it up first. So if anything bad was going to happen, it would happen to him. He's just the most. He said he's just the most selfless character ever. Like he would rather put himself in danger than see someone he loves get hurt. God. Oh my god. This guy, like, I just love him so much. He's great. Percy picks up the torches and thankfully nothing happens. Oh dear. Breathe a sigh. Breathe. Breathe. He's okay. That's all I've ever wanted is for my baby to be okay. And there was a little Perspeth quote here that I loved, which was, "Bring those to me, seaweed brain. I'm not sure I trust you with flammable objects." She's right. I mean, like, I wouldn't trust him with a flammable object either. But yeah, she's so funny and so unserious. I love her for it. Grover tells them that no matter what happens, they have to focus. And the chapter ends with Percy saying they are ready to go. Yep, he's wrong, guys. Like, I can, as soon as he says that they're ready, like, instantly in my mind and my heart, I was like, nah, they ain't ready. Like, something is going to go wrong. Well, we'll find out in the next episode, won't we? So let's just bring this episode to a close. Let's talk about my final thoughts and feelings. So we finally found out what happened to Gale, and Hecate knew that nobody would appreciate her talent, and that people might have thought she was even better than Hecate. That's why she turned her into a polecat. How sad. How honestly sad. Okay, whatever. Percy and Gale make such an amazing team. Like, and that scene where Percy offers her the antidote was so heroic of him. And you know what I love about him is I don't think he understands how. Sorry for the long pause. I accidentally knocked the mic over. Sorry, what was I talking about? Yeah, like I was saying, like I don't think he himself knows how selfless he actually is. Like I don't think he realizes how good of a person he actually is, and he's so humble. I just love him. Like there's no part of him that I don't love. I even love his sassy side because it cracks me up. I'm glad that our trio are back to their normal selves. Um, and Gail also taught us something important, you know, embracing who we are now, not hanging on to who we used to be. Everybody grows, everybody evolves. It's about being comfortable in who you are now. And yeah, Rick is just a phenomenal teacher. There's just nothing else I can say about him. He's just phenomenal in all aspects. I wonder how they're going to fix the foundation of Hecate's house. Well, guess we'll find out soon enough. SEJ stood for Sally Estelle Jackson. Guys, I'm being serious. I did not see that coming. And I can't believe Sally could have been a witch. Like, isn't that just so badass? But like I said, I'm just more happy that she had Percy. I mean, he's just the greatest fictional hero ever. So I just love him. So I'm glad that she had him instead. Yeah, and like I said before, like I thought it was quite unfair that Hecate blamed Eudora for the school shutting down. Like it's her fault. But now Percy definitely has another reason why he can't fail this quest. I mean, Eudora's fate depends on it, so no pressure whatsoever. Let's hope everything goes down well in the cemetery. I hope. It won't, but I'm praying. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm so sorry it was so long. I feel like I talked a lot, but there's a lot that went on in the chapters. So, in my defense, I don't even know why I'm defending myself. This is my podcast. It can be as long as it wants. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening in. I really appreciate it. Don't forget all episodes of the podcast are available to stream on Spotify and on my YouTube channel. Both are at Aamsuntitledpodcast. Follow me there, subscribe to my YouTube channel, be greatly appreciated. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Threads, be the first to know when a new episode goes live, and I'll speak to you guys very soon.